No, the title isn't tricking you. Yes, the title is kind of bait. As we will discuss later, I like a lot of aspects of the series. There's just one aspect in the later Persona games that I'm not particularly fond of. I'm sorry for skipping right over an introduction and getting right into the topic, but no, I don't like Persona. And before I get ratioed to hell and back, let me clarify. Persona by no stretch of the imagination is a bad series. I mean, for it to last this long, it's a pretty damn incredible series if you ask me, and it's very well deserving of a whole lot of my respect. I do have fun with the dungeon crawling, I do have fun with the storytelling, it's just one aspect tied specifically to Persona 3, 4, and 5 that puts me off. And sadly, it's a necessary function of those 3 iterations of the series. I hate to say it, but it's the social simulation portion of the game that I don't like. I understand that the social sim elements of the Katsura Hashino Persona titles are a lot of people's favorite. I recognize this, alright? But my favorite thing about the Persona games as a whole, 1 through 5, is the dungeon crawling. Yes, absolutely. Add cutscenes when you get to certain points in the dungeon. I mean, how else are you going to end up with a story? Or if the story is the main focus, yes, absolutely block off certain points of the dungeon until I get so far in the story. Or hell, a good combination of both. But I don't want to relive high school in any form or fashion. I did that once already, and once was enough for me. I mean, you're telling me I have to make, cultivate, and nurture relationships on top of killing otherworldly beings in a trans-dimensional facility. On top of that, I have to go to class, retake midterms, retake finals, and other tests on top of that? No, thank you. I'm good. And for the love of God, don't halt my progress in a dungeon just so that I have to do 2 or 3 weeks worth of social sim dialogue. If I want to run a dungeon, god damn it, I'm going to run a dungeon. Hell, even my Persona 3 Reload video focused on the dungeoning more than anything else. Yes, don't get me wrong, that's the furthest I made it in that game, but still, that was all that I really cared to focus on. Okay, I've been restarting Persona 3 Portable since middle school, and Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 since their respective releases. I've been doing some, internal analysis as to why I haven't just given up and moved on like most of you are probably screaming at your screen for me to do, and I've arrived at the conclusion that I really do want to like these games. The parts that I enjoy about these games are so well crafted that when I get to these parts, it feels like a treat. When I get to a point where I can go through a large stretch of Tartarus, or when I get to a new dungeon in the TV world, or when I get to run my way through a new palace, I end up sitting down and trying to do it all in one sitting because I don't know how long it's going to be before I can get to a new dungeon. And every time one of those well-rounded, well-crafted cutscenes pops on, my attention is just absorbed. And we can't forget about that soundtrack, dude. I catch at least one earwig from each and every game, and to be specific, I find myself revisiting the Persona 4 Golden soundtrack quite a lot at work. So you would think that all the elements above that I just thoroughly love would be able to cancel out and negate the elements that I don't like. I thought that would be the case too, but social simulation takes up so much of the Hashino Persona series that I just can't look past it. You know what it feels like? Social simulation in these games feels like watching filler in a long anime series. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You just got through the infiltration of the Soul Society arc in Bleach just to see this shit. But instead of it being useless filler, the game pulls a Katekyo Hitman Reborn and makes the filler necessary. At least in Reborn, the filler's mildly entertaining. Actually, it's funny as shit, but for the sake of argument, it's mildly entertaining. There's also side source material like movies, anime, and manga, but those mediums don't exactly connect without the gameplay. See, things don't quite connect the same if you're watching the cast of Persona 3 look for Fuka instead of you being the one doing the looking. Making Kamoshida pay for being an absolute creep means nothing if you're not actively taking part in his punishment. I'd reference something from Persona 4 Golden and Persona 4 the animation, but I'm not that far in either of them, and the low-hanging fruit is absolutely Toru Adachi, so I'm not exactly going to use that, which means we're just going to move on, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure my AC just kicked on. Viewing these mediums at one point in time, you the viewer should actually be you the player. My point is that the supplemental material is only there in case you want the story again. It should not be the direct means of enjoying the medium as a whole. So I mean, I follow the system of, yeah, go ahead, watch the movies, enjoy, but you better have played the games first. Which I recognize is a very strict way of going about enjoying content based off of video games, but that's just how I feel about it. I'm going to want to play the majority of a game, I mean at least the majority of a game, before consuming these mediums. Now, this is all not to say that I don't mind having social simulation elements in a game. Games like Rune Factory, which I don't like for different reasons, and Fire Emblem incorporate social simulation elements without having that particular facet of the game be completely overbearing. Games like Sword Art Online, specifically Hollow Realization, place social simulation in such a way that it's almost completely optional. Walking around and romancing the characters can take a back seat in favor of exploration, and earning affinity with each of the characters is as easy as performing the battle activity they want you to do. Whether it be switching places with them in battle or setting up for an attack chain. There's ways of performing social simulation elements without making it the main focus of half your game. So let me recap. I think the Hashino Persona games are incredibly good games, worthy of my respect. I think that given time I might actually turn around and thoroughly enjoy these games, even with the social simulation elements. But as of right now, there's no avoiding it. One singular element of your game takes up half the playtime, and that particular element is something I don't like, then I'm sorry, but I officially don't like half your game. And disliking half your game is enough for me to say that I just don't like it, period. If I'm enjoying something 50% of the time, the other 50% is just absolutely something that I'm going to dread later on. You know, when I have to approach the other 50% we're talking about. I don't know if I can promise you guys that I'm going to keep trying to play and complete these games, especially right now, because I don't want 50% of my time to just be an absolute slog. But I also don't want to give up either. So sadly, Persona, and really the series as a whole, 1 through 5, is going to take a back seat for a little while as I play other titles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if I broke some of your hearts in making this video, but I can't help how I feel about it. However, for me, this video was really cathartic to make. I had been making myself think I liked this game for such a long time because at one point I genuinely thought the problem was myself. Anyway, if you guys really enjoyed this, perform the YouTube Holy Trinity. It really does help me out. I'm considering making another top 5 video to make up for the dumpster fire that was the previous one. If not, I'm just going to delete it and move on. For now, it's been fun. I love you all, and I'll see you guys later on.